I'm not ready for that.
All right. Practice guide's out. Pretty much it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like every section we've discussed, just kind of melted into one. I kind of picked a problem here and there from the textbook. They're homework problems. They're in the textbook. I didn't really make up anything like difficult. You probably have seen these questions at some point. And it's just whether you can know how you can express it, you can do it. I do want work in certain cases. There's certain times like there's no work to show. There's some that I do want to see like something how you're getting an answer. Because some people get wrong numbers. Okay, I'll explain even on the first one. Now, I'm going to scroll through this really quick. You can kind of see how many there are. I consider these the questions. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There's 12 questions. Now I know when you look at the numbers there's 19, but there's actually like 12 real questions you're doing. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to do about the first, if you're using the number system, I want to get up through about number 9. That's what I'm going to do today. When we get through 9, we're golden. Then you can work on wherever you need to. You can work on the page 25. You can ask me questions. I can put examples on the board. But that's what I want to do today. Tomorrow, 10 through 19, whatever. Okay? Make sense? Okay, let's go through. Let's go to number 1. This is exactly what your test will look like. It's like the same exact format. All I did was go in the book. Like, this is the practice guide question. Probably what I'll do is I'll find it in the book and I'll just pick one to round. That's usually what I always do. Or I pick a homework round. Okay. Now, what? Yeah, I forgot.
So you have contacts in?
No, I'm literally
So
like
you
blind.
cannot see it.
So, all right. So I'm seeing double vision.
Let's go!
All right. I'll probably have a migraine by like 8th period today.
Big work.
I'll probably come unglued too when I find out who actually did that. So, all right. So here's the idea. When we plug in the numbers, so we have the 9 here. So 9 minus 7. All right. We're gonna cube that and then the 5 plus 4. Okay. Now, first step. Do not add the 4 plus 5 on the outside. It happens. Everyone always attempts it. Don't do it. If you're following the order of operations, PEMDAS, you do the parentheses first. Bless you. Sorry. You have to do the parentheses first. Then you have to do the exponent. Then you got to multiply. Then you can divide or add and subtract last. So 9 minus 7. 2. Cube it. 8. So here's where we're at so far. We're at 4 plus 5 times 8. Okay, does that make sense? Like the order I'm going in. Okay, that's the type of thing I want to see. You don't have to show every step. I want to see something. Like how you get into your answer. Okay, and then from there I multiply the 5 times 8 and add the 4 last. That's your answer. That's what I'm doing. Now, the craziest thing I've seen in previous years, no joke. Somebody in a previous year did this, and I don't know why they attempted it. No clue where they were going with this. They looked at that problem. They wrote out the 3 parentheses. They FOILed it. Then they took that answer, which was really big, like used the whole side of their paper. Then they took it times 5, so they distributed the 5 through it. Then they added 4. And then the worst part was they never plugged in the 9. So they did all that work. They got down to this crazy polynomial. It was really big. They wrote down their answer and circled it and moved on. It was like, you got it wrong in the first place, which I was like, it's like a 2-second problem. You just plug in the 9. But does that make sense? Like what you're supposed to do there?
So we can bully them.
No.
Yeah. Definitely gonna vote.
I'm not joking. It
Why
happened
don't you
last
do the
year.
exponent to the parentheses?
I think we should bully them. I'll probably do it.
Yeah. And here's the worst part. They foiled it all out, and the worst part was, if you're gonna foil that, just do Pascal's triangle. It makes it easier. So he really failed like a couple different ones. Anyway, let's
So
see.
why don't you put the exponent to the numbers in the parentheses first?
You don't distribute. So you wouldn't distribute a power like that because the idea is that the parentheses is a binomial, so you don't distribute a power over a binomial. You'd have to actually like literally FOIL or simplify the parentheses and then do it. So yeah, you don't distribute the 3 to each part. You don't do that. Okay.
Like up above handball.
That?
Yeah.
Yeah. In sticker form. All right. Okay.
Wait,
All right. Going to the next ones. Okay. On the next ones, the little N here, that is an intersection. I'm gonna write that down. An intersection. The U is a union. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, what this means is for intersection, it's what numbers do they have in common. So when you look at this bracket and this bracket, these sets, what numbers do they share for an intersection?
2 and 4.
That's your answer. So you're writing down the parentheses and just the numbers they share. That's the answer. Now, if they don't share anything, just leave it blank. Just put the brackets and put nothing in there. Don't put 0, don't put anything, put nothing. You could do,
so we write nothing?
So leave it blank.
yeah, you can just leave it like that if they have nothing in common. Or you can put one of these in there. That means the null set means empty. You don't need to put anything. Like there's nothing. You could write the word nothing and I'll be fine with that. Okay? Alright, does that make sense? I prefer like the empty set symbol or just leave the parentheses blank. Now, on the next question, number 3, it's a union. That means you're adding all the numbers together. All of them. So, it doesn't matter if they repeated or not. I want to know every number that's in both both brackets or, braces, however you want to say that. What are all the numbers that we see?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 5, 9,
5,
6,
6,
7, 8, 10.
8, 10. All right, good. No 9. You put 9, you counted wrong, and that's what I'm going to catch you on. If they were letters, fine, put all the letters. Okay? Whatever it is, you have to just put every different number that you see. It doesn't matter if they repeated, you put all the numbers that you see. Okay, in order. It has to be least to greatest. In order.
Also,
So you can't just put it 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6. I counted wrong. It has to be least to greatest. Okay, do we understand 2 and 3? Do we understand the symbols? N is intersection, U is a union. All right, I'm moving on. Let's go to number 4. Okay, now these problems. Okay, all right, number 4. Okay. There is no equal sign on number 4. You're not solving for y. If you read the instructions, it just says simplify. Okay, I've had somebody in the past attempt to solve for y and they tell me like y is 2. And I don't know how they get to it because there's no equal sign. So you're not solving anything here, right? You're just simplifying as far as it can go. So the first step, it makes me laugh every time I see it. The first step, you have to multiply the 4 through, and then you have to multiply the 3 through. Okay? That's what you're doing. Now, what do I get when I multiply the 4 in the first parenthesis?
23y plus 6.
8y minus 24. Okay. Now, once you've done that, the parentheses go away. Now, the 3 to the back parentheses.
15y plus 30.
Okay, plus 30. All right. The parentheses goes away. Now, if it was a negative 3, just use the negative sign with it. There. Now where we're at, now you can combine like terms. Add the y's together, add the numbers together. That's it. Then you move on to the next one. Like I do want to see work. Like on this problem, I know that you can just get it in your head really quick. I do want to see this, and then what your final answer is. Okay? You don't need to show any properties, nothing like that. It's just I want to see kind of like, how are you getting to your final answer in case it's wrong? Because some people will get it wrong. They'll get a negative sign wrong. They'll add the 8y and 15y and tell me it's somehow 24. So it is 23, but they'll just do simple things and I won't know how they got it.
And you'll give them points if you figure that out?
If you at least show work, I can see where you went wrong. Like if you're showing me this and your next step you wrote accidentally 24y, I only count a point out. As opposed to all the points because you didn't show any work. So, okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, show work, it's always better because it's easy problem. It's meant to be simple. Okay, 5. 5 is really checking whether you know how to use your scientific calculator. That's it. It's really checking. If you have a scientific calculator in front of you, do you know how to type in powers into it? It'll be a big number. That's what it's meant to do. Okay? The other idea is that it's testing whether you just know shortcuts as well. So there's two different ways of doing this problem. Number one, you could just do the numbers on the inside. What's 2 squared?
4.
4, and then you can put that to the third power.
And that's 64.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's your answer. Now, if you didn't like that, maybe going 2 to the second to the third, like you can't type that in your calculator,
Oh.
you can just do the laws of exponents. These two powers can multiply together, which is 2 to the 6th power, and that's what you can type in, and guess what? It would still give you 64, because that's a law of exponents. The exponents can multiply together to give you that number. I don't care which way you do it, as long as you're showing me that you're getting the right answer. Now, to type that in, if you're doing the 2 to the 6th power, most people have to type in the 2. You're looking for a little caret symbol, which on my calculator it's over by the 7 key, it's right here. Look for a little caret key. Then you're going to type in the 6 and hit enter. Some people don't have that. Some people have an X to the Y key. You hit 2, hit the little XY key, hit the 6, hit enter. Some people have a little box in a box. You just hit that and you just fill the numbers in the box. It just depends on your calculator. I only have 10. Some of you have probably already borrowed it. Make sure that on Thursday when we take our test, you bring a calculator, and the calculator you're bringing you know how to use. Because I don't want to answer the question in the middle of the test. Ward, how do I type in a power in this? That's not a question I'm going to answer during a test. I'm going to tell you and figure it out. Because you got to ask those questions beforehand. That's what today is about. Like, can you type that in? Okay, question. And I do not want people crying because they couldn't get a calculator in the back. Because I have 10. You know it right now. I have 10. I don't have 22 of them. I had people in the past get angry at me for only having 10. It's like, it's not my job to buy you a calculator. All right. Next. Okay. 6 and 7. You have to simplify these down. This is testing your laws of exponents. Do you remember the laws? Like on number 6, when you're multiplying these, you can really only multiply the 9 times 2. Right? Or not negative 9 times negative 2. You can only multiply that. The letters just get thrown in the back, and you're really just adding all the letters up because you don't even know what they are. That's what you're doing. So what's negative 9 times negative 2?
18.
Positive 18. And then for the x's and y's, just throw them in the back and just combine them all. So there's what, 9 x's, there's 5 y's, and there's your answer. Like, there's not really work to show there other than you're showing me that you understand what your powers are. Does that make sense? Now, if I was grading that problem would be worth 3 points. 3. How it's worth 3? It's a point for the first number, because some people get that wrong. There's a point for getting x, there's a point for getting y. Like how many there are. That's how I check it, if you want to know. Does that make sense? Okay, let's move on to the next one. On number 7, this one, there's 3 different ways you could do it. Number 1, you could simplify the parentheses inside first. Fine. You could move things around. Fine. The third way you could do it, distribute the power first, and then simplify later. I don't care how you want to do this. It makes no difference to me. You'll get the same answer in the end, as long as you understand I want the simplest answer in the end. If you didn't see this part always gets people and then they get mad at me. Ward, why did you check it wrong? I was right. Did you simplify your answer all the way down? That's what the question asks. So, if I was doing this problem, me personally, I would distribute the power of 3 through. I can simplify later. I like to get everything with the powers first, then I'll move stuff around, and then I'll simplify. So, everything gets the power. So, if I was writing this down, negative 15 is getting a power of 3. And notice how I wrote that. It's in a parenthesis. Because if you get the parenthesis, you could potentially get it wrong if you had like an even power. Because if you forget the parentheses and you have an even power, sometimes the calculator won't get rid of the negative sign. And it's just because you typed it in wrong. A to the 4th to the 3rd, you're multiplying those together. Okay, 4 times 3. B to the 2nd to the 3rd, you're multiplying those together. Like that's how I'm distributing the power of 3. It's going to everything. Now it even goes to the bottom row. 5 to the 3rd. A to the 10 to the 3rd. And you're multiplying those together. B to the negative 3 times 3. Right? And then C to the 0 times 3. Like that's what you're doing. You're multiplying all those powers. It's showing me that you understand what a power and a power means. You have to do that number what? Number 5 up above? You have to do a power over power. So it looks like these A's up on the top currently, A's are 12, the B's are 6, the A's on the bottom are 30, the B on the bottom is a negative 9, and the C is literally gone, it turned into a 1. Here's how I know, it's C to the 0, is 0 comes through 0, C to the 0 turns out to be the number 1, literally. So, now the numbers out front, do that in a calculator, I have no idea what those numbers are. 5 to the third is 125, but 15 to the third, it's in the 3,000s probably. 3,375, negative. Then you can simplify from there. Now this isn't my final answer, you still gotta figure out these numbers, but you can simplify those. Negative number out front, fine, you can leave the negative sign there. But simplify the numbers. Okay, questions on how to do that? I'm not finishing that problem, you can finish the numbers up on your own. We're good? Is there any questions about what I did? How I did it?
No.
I'm trying to give this as easy as possible, so when you get to your test, you know exactly what you're doing. Now, obviously, not every review test like this will do this. It's the first one. I want to alleviate your stress, so you can go into that first test and get into the school. I normally don't go as detailed and do every problem like I'm doing now. It's just your first one. I want to take it a little bit easier. All right, let's go to number 8 and 9. These are my last 2 today. Last 2. Question.
Can I go?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Are you signing up in the office? I think you can do that. You signed up.
What are you doing?
Chats. Hey, homework due Thursday. That's that page 65 stuff, and then your practice guys due Thursday as well. Okay. All right. So
When you're talking about cold,
all right. Okay. All right. Let's go to this next one. Number 8 and 9. Now, what I've done is I've put these problems. I put these problems in scientific notation. What I want to know is what the original number should have been. So the original number. Now, I'll do one of these. So, do you want number 8 or number 9?
9, 8.
Okay, raise your hand if you want 8. Raise your hand if you want 9. Oh God, probably 9. Sorry, 9. All right. So, I'll just show you. I'll explain it, and you can go do number 8 here in a second. So, negative 7.16. All right. So whatever your number is in the front, I write it down. Okay. So mine's negative 7.16. Now, if it is a positive power, your number's really big. Like it's above $1. If you have a negative power, you have less than $1. You have change. You have a decimal usually. That's how I think of it. So on yours, on number 8, you have a decimal behind the 7. If that makes sense. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is on my negative 7.16, I got to figure out where my decimal is. And since I have a positive 6, I'm going to the right 6 spots from here, where that sits, where the decimal sits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll fill in zeros if I need it. That's my answer. So my answer ended up being 0, 0, 0, 0. It ended up being negative 7,160,000. Like that's what my answer is. Now, if your number was negative, you just go the other direction. 5 spots. Negative goes to the left, positive goes to the right. Does that make sense? The only other type of problem that could sit on 8 and 9 is if I give you a number, and I ask you to write it in scientific notation. That's the other problem that could